Today we're going to be looking at why people say 200 series LandCruisers are terrible on the beach. One of the great things about owning a four-wheel drive when you're in Australia is being able to drive on the beach. Now, when I decided to upgrade from my Nissan Patrol to a 200 series LandCruiser, so many people told me that they're useless on the beach. I'd get told all sorts of things like they're too heavy, for example, or they're just terrible and always get bogged with no meaningful explanation. And when I took my 200 series LandCruiser onto the beach for the first time, I got bogged. I couldn't work out what was going on because my 4.8 litre Patrol was a 6-cylinder inline petrol motor, and it had 185 kilowatts and 430 newton meters of torque. It was about the same weight, give or take a couple of hundred kilos, as my 200 series, and the 200 series has 200 kilowatts and 650 newton meters of torque out of a twin turbo 4.5 litre V8 diesel. On paper, this thing should eat up the beach. So where does the problem lie? It seems like I have plenty of power, so it can't be a power problem. Or is it? Well, the first thing you've got to do if you don't want to get bogged on the beach is let your tyres down. So let's get that out of the way first. A lot of 200 series drivers, they've never driven on the beach before, but they don't let their tyres down from road pressures. A good starting point is 20 psi, but there's no harm in going down to 10 straight away if you're not familiar with the beach. The other problem that I see with 200 series LandCruisers on the beach is the underslung spare tyre at the rear. Now, a 200 series from the factory isn't very high off the ground. It has okay ground clearance, but it's not the best. And the underslung tyre actually slopes forwards on an angle and literally acts like a sand anchor. If you get into deep ruts in the sand, that tyre is going to dig in and fill up with sand, and it's going to stop you in your tracks. So if you do get bogged with a 200 series LandCruiser, make sure you get underneath there with a long handled shovel or crawl under there with your hands and actually get that sand out from around that spare tyre. So in this video, I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick that some people might not be aware of with Toyota four-wheel drives, or modern Toyota four-wheel drives at least. And that's a problem with the traction control that makes you think it's off when it's not. So I'm going to go hit the soft stuff on this beach, and I'm going to do a couple of U-turns. I'm going to do a U-turn how somebody might do it if they've never been four-wheel driving in a 200 series LandCruiser before might do it, and then I'm going to show you the trick to turn off that traction control completely and show you the difference that makes when we're driving through deep sand. So in order to turn around in this soft sand, I'm going to turn my traction control off because traction control and sand generally don't go well together. Now, it might have looked like I was backing off the throttle there. That was actually the computer's nanny control system turning off the throttle just when I needed momentum. Now, that's because even though I've turned off the traction control, it's not off. And I'm going to show you how to turn off the traction control properly. But before we do this a second time, we're going to put the car into low range because, as you can see, my gearbox temperature is very, very hot from running high range on the beach. You should always put your car in low range, especially if you're in an automatic, unless the sand's very, very hard and you want to go a fair bit quicker than you would be crawling in this soft stuff. So we're going to put the car into low range, and that will automatically turn off the traction control, but it doesn't turn it off entirely in a Toyota. I believe Hiluxes and Prados are the same as a 200 series in this instance. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to engage the center diff lock so that all four wheels are running together, and then we're going to push and hold the traction control button for about 3 seconds. That will actually fully disconnect the traction control system, including that nanny system that limits your throttle control. So there you have it. If you actually do the right thing with the 200 series LandCruiser and get rid of that traction control altogether, I think you're going to find that it's just as capable as any other car on the beach. In fact, I actually find that this goes better on the beach than my old GU Patrol. Both of my GU Patrols, in fact, I had a manual 4.2 litre turbo diesel and I had a 4.8 litre automatic petrol. And this thing eats them for breakfast once you've got all of those nanny systems turned off and you just get your boot into it. Of course, that's not the way to always drive on the beach. If you get your tyre pressures correct, you shouldn't need to spin your wheels at all in most circumstances. Please, please, please let your tyres down. Don't tear past dogs, families and kids. Stay safe. Thanks for watching.